Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum.
Om ahong. Ako. Ta chulo namba person tuji che tenen wang li da lama ke bisi namba ke wang de ma ko songu yore tin chetan Romani bo ma she yang lo ma sa pa le una de wang de tonta di yore ta tenen so yon ti yo ma ti so anyam de ya ha ko yore wang de tambu teni 사제 그 sempre tanto quarto tapete sosan masum labira masum song teni sanga shibade teni nyamsuri taptesa sawa de kokhapo yore teni be ya mai chu kwanga toda kokhapo yore teni ngoptu chen ma kela teni nyamsuri shiyo mai teni mato ba lo quarto pa so tam toksa aso Tesu ko anta sono tenjeva tutto io ma te viene teni sama ci vanno in giù quando eso tiene to quando ci sono teni da ma ci va wang yin so te wang to na te wang de tambo ni ha se le betamne ni ha se le choba o ta cha ni ha se le shido ni ha se le berobne o ta cha ni ha se le chodo ni ha se le wa ta to ko ni ha se le shina 이렇게 비신이 같이 문에 약속이 시도 다들이서 것도 제대로 왔다 터버리더니 톱내더니 이발라더니 왕래는 이번도 또 다치 보여래 그 체질 루틱라더니 랑 내가 다독이랑 내가 봐 내가 돌좀 거더니 돌좀 mention했더니 성도 꼭 하네 돌좀 랍토바랑 돌라랑 내지 토고요래 타톡들이 랑코가 탈레스 탐지 코가 저스트베 다베더니 콜로조 와사다 토야를 대상할 때니더니 상한제비 와서 그때 이제 소탈이온 거래. 이제 소탈은 애들 남사센지 소탈타바든 코를 로도 그래. 사신이는 다디지로 도는 이피로 제거요. 그때는 코와도 그거 다디에 배나 다디지로 도는 오 코를 타고는 가리고 다디 타고 해서 다디들 사생을 남도 다랑도 말이 인소를 해서 어때 제하고요 이소제 하고요 있는 랑은 일 피고사비로 어떻게 창을 폐기하래서 창을 피고사비로 어떻게 독도 거요 참탄을 폐기하래 막신 거요 그래서 사기 대회들이 돈을 일 피고사비로 어떻게 되니 일은 폐기하래 랑은 폐기하라지 이가라 라지 도진념들도 그요래서 저 사생을 남서 남들 속창을 다속을 되버가리 상하들 라왕치 못하고 더고요래 정도나 라는 봤으면더니 들이 다속 되버 상하들한테 잡이자사다한테 토야요 해서 왕들 통다들로 나지요래
So all of my Dharma friends have assembled now. Thank you very much for coming. Today we will receive an empowerment. And in general, many of you have received many empowerments from different lamas. And most of the senior disciples are familiar with the meaning of the empowerment. But maybe there's also a few new disciples here. So to briefly explain the meaning of the empowerment, it is actually twofold. And so in general, I do not have a lot of great qualities, but I have some understanding of the way in which we should engage in practice. And so number one, firstly, the Buddha provided a method for sentient beings to become liberated from samsara. And that method is the threefold path of Pratimoksha, Bodhisattva, and the Vajrayana vehicles. And the Vajrayana vehicle is also referred to as the secret mantra. And secret because it is very difficult to understand its meaning, not because someone has hidden it for some reason. It is just very difficult to understand the actual meaning of these teachings, unless one is being introduced to the meaning by a spiritual teacher. Otherwise, one will not understand how to engage in the Vajrayana practice. And then being in the grip of a misunderstanding or a lack of understanding or a partial understanding, one will not obtain a fruition of practice. So the first requirement for the secret mantra of Vajrayana practice is to receive an empowerment. And Lord Jigten Sumgön had said the difference between the sutras and the tantras is the empowerment. And so for the meaning of the empowerment, first of all, the first meaning is that the empowerment is in a way like an authorization for you to engage in the practice. But what that really means is that through the empowerment, you come to know how to engage in practice. So then your spiritual teacher determines that now you understand the practice, so now you are given the authority, the empowerment to engage in practice because you know how to. And then secondly, the second meaning of the empowerment is that it connotes like a sense of autonomy, of freedom. And so when you receive the empowerment, it is said that ideally you can find complete freedom in a single lifetime, a single body. And so in general, it is said you find freedom temporarily and ultimately. Temporarily, you will have the freedom to continuously take birth in the three higher realms. So you're closing the doors to birth in the three lower realms. That is the first freedom that you attain. And then the ultimate freedom is that finally you will become liberated from samsara, and then you will have an ability to also liberate other sentient beings from samsara. So the Vajrayana vehicle is referred to as the resultant vehicle. The basis must be the pratimoksha, or the vehicle of individual liberation. So here in the pratimoksha, first of all, we need to turn our mind away from samsara, develop renunciation. And then secondly, on that basis, the path is the path of the bodhisattvas. So here we must then cultivate an altruistic mind of love and compassion, recognizing that the actual root of samsara, of all suffering, is the self-grasping mind. So if you wish to become liberated from samsara, you must become liberated from self-grasping. And you liberate yourself from self-grasping by cultivating bodhicitta. And the essence of that state of mind is that you do not consider your own benefit as important, but you consider others as more important than yourself. And that is very difficult in the beginning. It's very difficult to always put others before self. But then in the beginning we understand that actually the wish to benefit others is my own greatest benefit. The Buddha actually said that if you want to only benefit yourself, if you're striving after your own benefit, for the most part, you're really only harming yourself. You're not actually bringing that benefit about. And sometimes there is some slight benefit, but for the most part, it is very harmful. So this altruistic mind is to the benefit of others and also your own greatest benefit. So for this reason, it is that the Bodhisattva's path accomplishes the dual purpose of others and oneself. So you enter that path, and once you have entered that path and have engaged in practice, ultimately, on the level of the fruition, you enter the view of the secret mantra, the Vajrayana, and that is the greatest freedom that can be attained. So freedom is attained through following the threefold path of pratimoksha, bodhisattva, and Vajrayana, and it all is culminating in the resultant vehicle of the secret mantra. And at this point, you have become like the king ruling over an entire kingdom.
좀 제가 됐다를 들으면 하고더니 이제 Milarepa 왕이 들 소속에다가 Milarepa 나타나서 답을 이제 로지담 사태 잡채수에 들 왕한테 돈이 없을라나 들 가시나 공방 탑탑방에 손으로 도와봐 됐다면 나타나는데 가시는 때에 한 내갑들은 고아를 줬다 이노제도 언니봐 그 때다 라는 게 추데 니바 같이 나타나는 때에 주도 같이 되는 니바 때다 요래 그 추도 도지 팔는다 그래서 도지 팔는데 같이 써도 지나들이 용기 철철로 그래 대단한 거 속에 다이다도 생기잖아요 내가 이 성소를 탔다 이제 Milarepa는 진짜다. 오, 다다 가시게 Milarepa 까와마 모르게도 다 취들을 되는 식으로 커버서리 랍거든 로바탄 랍거든. 대말 까티서 쭉 치는데 봤었어요. 요래 변은 Milarepa 때도 다콩 답부나 까와질 저도 홍축벌에 되게 다다 잡을려나 되네 가주가 대 주주의 참아더니 딸이 갖고 왔다고 너 가주가 사자치 보내서는 그랬어. 참마 Milarepa 로톱 차요래. 들이 Milarepa는 들다 로락 때다는 참 Milarepa 됐다. 셈리들이 셈을 초월해서 봤다면 야한테 가르쳐 공부 까지는 봤었어요. 그러니까 왔다 또 들은 봤었어요. 맨장 속에서 대바닥지는 기초를 되게 타투 들까래 갈래 타투 사지 공방 탑지가 덕덕을 내가 느낌이 말아리 가와지 바나지 덕덕 테마도사 사리 공방 토야 돼 말이 하게 되는 몇두 쳐담지는 데서 토야 벨 말아리파 도마 말바가 로마 탐제나네 들이 로마 조수들 마파가 딱바를 잡았지 동덕제사 주면랑 때에서 말아리바리 예당들 물에 왕거로 가서 말아리 마파에서는 들이 말아리바 속생나 사제 때문에 말아리바 일을 사제 때문에 속생이 오서 일단 때보다 눈에 속자를 마파리 대디다 말아리바가 어때 속자마다 다트다 눈에 때를 사제 때문에 속생으로 말아리바 저때 더블로 가지고 가요 어때 다 말아리바들이 일을 종거래 눈에 때를 땅을 마페서 와다다 더블로 내서를 때를 눈에 때도 잘 때를 서 그래서 사바사기 시체 콩 약을 배테다 탑에 출고 있었다 그래 그때에서리 다가 말아리바 잡지 모임에서 사막을 와 말아리바 왕지 로나스 이 말아리바 왕푸요에서
And so many of you have received different empowerments. There's many different deities that from which we receive an empowerment from different lamas. But what is important is that we understand that the general meaning of all these empowerments is one and the same. And when you understand that, no matter which empowerment you receive, you understand that the ultimate result having received the empowerment and then engaging in practice, that is a method to attain the state of liberation. If you're able to turn away from samsara. And so, depending a great effort in the practice, and they might attain liberation in this very life. And then for others, they put a lesser effort into the practice, so temporarily they continue to wander in samsara, but the altruism that they have developed also carries some weight. That you're able to cultivate altruism and practice the Dharma, there will always be a corresponding result. So the greater your diligence in practice, the greater the power of the practice. The practice of the Holy Dharma is just like polishing a diamond. The Dharma is like a diamond, and the more you polish the diamond, the more its brilliant qualities will become revealed. So it is a method to attain liberation from samsara, in brief. And so now about Milarepa. Now, many disciples often say that Milarepa had endured so many hardships until he finally attained the state of liberation. And to them, it seems that unless we also put in that kind of effort, unless we exert ourselves the way Milarepa did, it will be difficult to find any result, any achievements in practice. But that is actually also not true. Of course, if one is able to practice like Milarepa, then one will achieve similar results. But even if you're not able to endure these kind of hardships, whatever practice you do will have a corresponding result. But now Milarepa was a practitioner secluding himself to practice meditating in caves, and as a result, nowadays in this world, it is really his lineage of Mahamudra, the Kagyu lineage, that follows Milarepa. So anyone in the Kagyu lineage really is a follower of Milarepa. And that is still the case after so many years. Still, when we hear about his life, a special feeling arises in our mind. And that is because of the hardships that he had endured. So the greater the hardship, also the greater the power of practice. But even now, if you only even develop faith and some devotion, there will be a corresponding result to that too. And then gradually, as you continue your practice, you will finally attain enlightenment. So it is not absolutely necessary to practice exactly like Milarepa. You shouldn't think that no, unless you practice like him, you cannot attain liberation. It's just the greater the effort, the greater also will be the result. And so Milarepa was a disciple of Marpa, and among the different many disciples Marpa had, in the beginning, Milarepa actually was the worst of his disciples, and Marpa would constantly beat him and scold him and put him through a lot of trials and hardships. But then in the end, he conferred empowerment upon him, and at that time he said that it is due to Milarepa's determination, his courage in Dharma practice, that he will become like a life tree, a life force tree of sustaining the Buddha's teachings. So this is also recorded in many of the books and historical books and life stories and so on. So at that time, that's what Marpa said, but now we can actually see that his prediction actually turned out to be true, because nowadays still the entire world, all of the Milarepa's name spreads around the world, and the Kagyu lineage really is a lineage of followers of Milarepa. And so also, this is good to understand for newer disciples, because especially for newer disciples, he's really a guru that we can put our trust into, because his historical background, his source, his origin is really an authentic one, an authentic story. So such are the qualities of the Holy Dharma. And now, because of his great qualities, the great qualities of this master, people have requested me to confer Milarepa's empowerment, and so now I'm happy to offer this empowerment to you.
Koshikuya, Lomata, Teta, Shuria, Kozok, Teta, Milarepa, the Zog, the Chicks, Changshayo, Marete Lavne, the Milarepa Lavne, I said Shayo, but Zuboto Gores, and said that you want like a chapter with any mom or so that he said that you want like a chapter, Nakala, some like that, the Yores, chapter, so. There's somebody. This idea took sugar, the Lama took sugar, the only chap the Yority. Chap the Yori, this is sort of Namsa, my knowledge, Hako, Mari. Then we need to talk that Sabat sent me about the gum. There's a Shilelas were gone, she Sabat sent me about the gum. Got the little service of the comes from 17 times that the way on some of the second Sabat sent me about Jina. Or that meaning is something that we got up, something chop those and the Hakot. They go, that Jata, Milarepa, Lama gives you time to talk to it, a Jessambe Barre, at least you get to where the way one girl got in Milarepa, Musio, so the Muslim took a lot of a chabuna. The long Naso Kanakadu, Del Teto, the Lashabara, in some country, a number of Shayum. Crocodile, that building, Sajachi, saying, Person Jenny, Tasa Gavicini, Tamsi Loma Gavicini, Tamsi, something Milarepa said that you worry, Subject Sajat Chimbori, Kalishated the Sajat Yori, don't Yamsel in Gerard, the City was handed to the Digaton, don't talk about the Sajat Chimbori, Kakalu Mari. 비명을 삭신 족신 오만 잡으라 따면 사직에 대식등 보고서 시랍도 바르도 서먹 따와서 좀 뒤등을 오고 요래 삭신이 때리 족신이 때리 다tuk 람직도 절로고 요래 다tuk 상기를 죽을 상기를 그때들 그 속에 왕걸 냠이 제박하면 가능성 탑시요리 그때 이지제 탑요리 들지 말아야 송나가 요리 보면은 들지 따면 들지 말라고 치와해.
So some people have a lot of devotion in the Buddha's teachings and also in the various spiritual teachers, lamas and so on. And because they are so devoted to these masters, they don't want them to pass away, and they ask them to live a long life, and they perform long life prayers and ceremonies. For example, also disciples are requesting me, who is already an old man, to not die. And so actually there is a story when Milarepa passed away that shows that very, very well. When before Milarepa passed away, his disciples said similar things to him, and Milarepa responded to that now on the relative level, there is a body, and the body is bound to die. However, my mind is beyond birth and death. My mind will never die. And even after my body is gone, my mind will continue to pervade the 5 elements. And therefore, in the future, whoever supplicates me, my mind will be right there, still pervading the 5 elements. So whoever thinks of me, I will be right there with them, since the mind is all pervasive. And that is the mind of all the Buddhas. It is the Dharmakaya. The Dharmakaya is the mind of all the gurus. It is all pervasive. But it is difficult to understand this if one hasn't engaged in practice and gained the personal experience of that. And so to gain an experience of that, first you should meditate. You cultivate a state of immeasurable love for all beings. Or you stay in the state of shamatha, calm abiding. And in that moment where you meditate, you look at your mind directly. So when you look at your mind, there is this immeasurable love that you feel for all sentient beings in the 3 realms of samsara. So when you feel immeasurable love for all beings, then your mind actually pervades all these beings. And then you will really understand what is meant with saying, wherever sentient beings pervade, this is where my mind pervades. And so the Dharmakaya, that is the mind of all the gurus, and that mind is beyond birth and death. And when you experience it in this way, you can really develop trust in that. And so now when we receive the empowerment of Milarepa, we should be aware that Milarepa is actually here with us as we receive the empowerment, because his Dharmakaya space like mind is all pervasive. And then the Sambhogakaya is the various Yidam deities that appear in whichever way necessary to benefit sentient beings. They appear in peaceful forms or wrathful forms in many different ways. And then there is the Nirmanakayas. These are the various masters appearing in this world who, in the Kagyu lineage, for instance, are upholding and sustaining, protecting the teachings of Mahamudra and pass them on to their disciples. And so their mind, the mind of these masters, is actually inseparable from the mind of Milarepa. So the mind is Mahamudra, and also the teachings, the words are the teachings on Mahamudra. And then on the ultimate level, if we put that into practice, we will actualize being indivisible from that state of Mahamudra all along. So we give it different names. We call it Mahamudra or Dzogchen or the middle way. The Buddha referred to it as the Buddha nature. It is the view of the perfection of wisdom. And everything, the meaning of all of these terms is included within that Buddha nature. And everyone has that nature. And that is what we ultimately actualize, completing the path. So the ultimate state is the state of the Dharmakaya, the mind of all the gurus, the mind of Milarepa. So now when we receive the empowerment and then thereafter engage in practice, if you understand this, the Dharmakaya, all-pervasive nature of the Guru, then you will be able to trust instantly that the Guru, Milarepa, is actually here. And actually, that is also explained extensively by Milarepa himself in his various songs of realization. So that is why his teachings are very powerful. Then I will read the history of the empowerment. May I swiftly attain the unified state of great Vajradhara for the benefit of all sentient beings, limitless as the sky. Think that for this purpose you will receive the empowerment and blessings of Jetsun Milarepa, the Lord of Yogis, Mila Sheba Dorje. Thus listen with the pure intent of bodhicitta. The condensed perfection of wisdom says, the Buddha who possesses perfect qualities said that one should rely on the Buddha, the Dharma, and virtuous friends. The Tantras say, if you perfectly offer to and serve the Guru, you will attain the all-knowing state in this very life, even if you do not practice other forms of offering. According to the sutras, a disciple should rely on a spiritual master who explains the Buddha's teachings. According to the Tantras, the Guru is the presiding lord of all Buddha families and mandalas. Thus, offering to and practicing the Guru is the quintessence of all paths. With the least difficulty, all the great yogis of India and Tibet attained accomplishments only by practicing the profound path of Guru Yoga. Among the great masters of India and Tibet, Jetsun Milarepa is an authentic guru. In the beginning, he relied on his guru with devotion, enduring great hardships. In the middle, he engaged in practice with great diligence, enduring the hardships of an ascetic. In the end, he actualized the highest accomplishment. Having practiced the Vajrayana path in an authentic way, he attained the supreme siddhi in a single lifetime. Thus, he is unequaled in the snowy land of Tibet. Even the great scholar Naropa of the noble land of India paid homage to him and praised him to be equal to the sun and moon. Great masters such as Padampa Sangye praised him to be an incontestable accomplished master. He is widely renowned in this world as the great Kagyu master, who is the wellspring of all the Buddhas of the three times, who appear in forms as many as there are dust motes in the universe. Milarepa said, all who hear my name and who call upon me will not be born in the lower realms for 7 lifetimes. Whatever you are wishing for, supplicate me, and I will be right beside you. Thus, because he grants all wishes, you should pray to him from the bottom of your heart. Milarepa spoke these Vajra words of granting fearlessness again and again. Moreover, at this very moment, the great unified form of primordial wisdom naturally abides like space, pervading the animate and inanimate, the worlds and all beings. Therefore, in the mind stream of one who supplicates, Vajra-like primordial wisdom will naturally arise. The Vajra Master's activities, which are required in order to confer the profound empowerment and blessings of the great accomplished wheel-turning king, are completed. The activities of the disciple begin with the offering of a mandala.
Milarepa, Dorji Chang Charuki, Om Navakaladi, Tojing Tanti Petiosa, Tojing Sati Priority, said Lord Chang.
So for the mandala, please visualize the following. Visualize the mandala in front, appearing like the pure land of manifest joy. It has the nature of pure primordial wisdom, is infinitely vast, and its radiance, wondrous and magical, appears unceasingly, filling with adornments of limitless, naturally appearing offering clouds. In its center, upon a lion's throne and seat of lotus sun and moon, sits the Jitun Milarepa, who by nature is the embodiment of the primordial wisdom of all the Buddhas of the three times. He is inseparable from your own root guru. He appears in the form of the presiding lord of all Buddha families, great Vajradhara, like a great mountain of sapphire, radiating with blue-green light, charming and smiling with a peaceful expression. The major and minor marks clearly appear, and he holds a Vajra and bell in his two hands crossed at the heart. Thus he sustains skillful means and delights in the supreme bliss of the self-projections of his own wisdom mind. Adorned with silken and precious ornaments, he sits in cross-legged Vajra posture. The mere thought of this great guru has the power to bring forth the wisdom of great bliss. In the presence of this embodiment of the ocean-like three roots, offer him your own body, enjoyments, all virtues accumulated in the three times, the animate and inanimate universe, filled with outer, inner, and secret offering clouds.
Latamadi Yedi Namadra, Jivachampi, Yeditorse, Glory. Om Ahom Ling Ye Jekti Ram Jam Jul Sam Jor Malu Ram Jam Jam Tzu Kenge Dorbe Co Malu Lo Yi 대니 로군 토기 롱더솔 다르 롬조 독바 젠치당 퐁캄 젠치 차리윤 드마르지 다드 종외 무벌 절체군 벌지 단지 셰왈 신지롭 무당 무매 파레 용조르생 제가 내섬 롱 딱체지 맹세 레데 내록 매란조 풀웨 예즈 치당 예미쇼 이쪽에 다통자들이 세메라 저기 감장매가 난근저와 난근매라 나도 정세 그거 잠시 랑그 바닥 정말 자연도마다 기바 삼지 상면자 인지 정지 대를 다다 사지 신진일이 다진일이 상제데 생각대로 문에 되는데 속들이 맞아 샘남 가다를 이어 말이 대하고라더니 디면다 사자쯤면다 대퍼레더니 말라리파 창나 저과 영화 쇼즈 뭐라고 딱 그러는데 니디 매박감이더니 라마나세 예미차는 문이 여말에 내가 차대래 뒤에서 오 사자쯤 뭐냐 말이 저과감이 말라리파 저랑 콜레지 가가는 매와 고아샤는 걸 때 돈 타고 맨날 삼전에 피노 지슈에서 뒤통다 대다를.
So the meaning of what we just repeated is that the offering of the outer, inner, and secret mandala, and the outer mandala is offering the entire limitless universe, and the inner mandala offering is to offer anything that you grasp at your own, all possessions, even your children, husband and wife, anyone surrounding and near you, anything that you personally own. And then the secret mandala offering is that the offering of the dualistic grasping to a subject-object duality. So we think that there is a duality between there's Buddhas and sentient beings, there's self and other, but when you look at the actual nature of the mind, you see that there's only a duality in form, but not in the mind, because the mind is like the sky, and there is no duality there. And when you realize that, that is then called the mandala of Mahamudra. And that is the mandala now offered to Milarepa, who delights in that mandala of non-duality. So it is when you realize non-duality, then at that moment your mind and the Guru's mind merge into one. And so the self completely disappears. So when you rest within this state of Mahamudra, then an understanding arises of how there is no separation between samsara and nirvana and your own mind and the Guru's mind and so on. So that is the ultimate mandala, and that is the greatest mandala to offer with the greatest benefits.
그래서 면접하기니 다 소속의 남카를 사지 장매바 요구래 산지리들을 랑가 류양때 따라들 류싱했던 이들전에 사지 당제 중에 사찰 초반부 그 왕쇼요 삼 그리고 공부해서
Now, having offered the mandala, now visualize that in the space before you there's a limitless assembly of Buddhas, and think that as many Buddhas as there are, your own body becomes multiplied, and all of these emanations then together prostrate to those Buddhas and make offerings and receive empowerment together.
강거 진치 대친이 깨제 니라 charvagang lama rinchi dawu go dorji jinxiao beiladu.
And then in English, Guru, through your kindness, great bliss arises instantly. I bow to the lotus feet of the precious Guru with Vajra-like form.
그런데 라스원데 하자 차시벌 아버지들이 깨끗이나 차와 강서 일단 고를 동네만 삼해 봐야네요. सब대식 좀 목하는 대로 돌아들이 제시베 생하고 좋더라. 이 동네 나도 탐지 말람다베 체도 말람다베 에 말람데 맞다베더니 뭐해 상속을 요래나 다시 맞아 왔시는들이 대그들이 대사가 동다한테 강가성한테 라마 교신이 탐지 송을지 내서 그래서 다 잡고들 라마 교신이 탐지 자치고 적셔 참에 옛날 교신에서 송도 자치고 써고 그것도 제리 송들이다 미라레파 살았죠. 송도 다다바도 산지 좀 되지 가리 좀 돼. 이제 미라레파도 가도 상촉sem 책들 좀 책들을 못 寫. 교실이가 끝들은 놓고요. 끝들을 뒤니들이 끝을 와래 막 송대일도 송대야 동가리 상촉sem 임핑을 놓대. 임핑을 놓대 라마리 상들이 동가지 라마 좀 솔로 라마 상촉집으로 쏘는데 라마 상촉집에 쏘았잖아요. 소소를 집을 놓지. 어때문에 라마리 라마 샘들이 라마 족대 미래 라마 샘들 자치 버리 라마 샘들 소소 집으로 계속 가죠. 때문에 라마리 상촉집에 라마 초지 제시야요 말에 딜라마도 셔야요 말에 이 하작 같이 버리되 계속 차와칸 이걸로 지마타들랑 그랬더니 나도 막 차탑지 상도를 하자 가르쳐버려야 된다.
So in this supplication we have just said great bliss arises instantly through your kindness, and so that is very important. So instantly, this instant arising, even though the suffering in samsara is endless, when you realize the true nature of your mind, your Buddha nature, you realize that your true nature is never born and it never dies. And then you realize that all of these thoughts and the appearances of this life are dream-like, illusory appearances. And that is all cleared away when you realize the nature of mind, when you realize that self and others are not separate. And that is something we realize based on the words of the Guru, the teachings. Everybody always considers the teacher, the Guru, as so precious, but what is most precious really is the Guru's teachings, the words. The body is a compounded phenomenon. It is impermanent, but the speech, the teachings, like Milarepa's teachings on Mahamudra, have remained up until the present day, and so did the Buddha's words. The Buddha, in the Buddha's words, there is this term we always say, bodhicitta. These teachings are what is really precious, what we should consider as really precious. If we only hold on to the Guru's body, then we are really mistaken. It is through the body that we approach the Guru, so we come close to the Guru. Then that is the purpose. But then, what is the purpose of coming close to the Guru is the speech. And what is the Guru's speech? It is the teachings on altruism, on bodhicitta. And so therefore, that is the actual Guru. In the Drigung Kagyu supplication to the lineage gurus, it says that I supplicate to bodhicitta, to the Guru, the actual Guru bodhicitta, that is bodhicitta. So if you cultivate an altruistic mind, that is the Guru, and that is the mind of the Guru. The body of the Guru is a human being. And what's important is the mind of the Guru. And the moment you give rise to such an altruistic mind, you can be confident that that is the actual Guru. That is the mind of the Guru. And the mind of the Guru cannot die, it is never born, and it cannot cease to be. So that is really very important. The moment you develop an altruistic mind, in that moment all concepts of a self, of selfishness and so on, are instantly cleared away. So that is an extremely important line here, it is instantly arising. So now I think that in the space before you there is the Guru Vajradhara appearing as Vajradhara, and think that he multiplies into countless forms, just like there is dust particles in a sun ray, and then comes to the crown of each sentient being, as many sentient beings as there are, and they all receive the empowerment from the Guru Vajradhara. So now visualize, think that the nectar is poured into your crown and it fills up every channel of your body, and that becomes like melting an ice block, and your body transforms into the form of Vajradhara. Empowerment is conferred, and the nectar fills up your entire body. Having purified all defilements and karmic imprints, you now instantly appear as great Vajradhara, the illusory form that appears yet is empty. You have received the vase empowerment. All defilements of the body are purified, and you are empowered to meditate on the generation stage as the path, the seed to attain the Vajra form of the Nirmanakaya, as a result, has been placed into your mind.
lama doji chang ranang yum doji jimata nyamba joga gava tada dewa taja soju sanje na kiyen tate chada yo jitsa jawa chane kama sacha tate junram jide kata leba tibata tata rochi tate beja sote jiba me panzo tani lama doji chang yabiyamla soju chiso sanje sanje tani 토르 카와 바바다 탐 들리들 라마이 도지 청여 셔르 드스르 탐송데 에드니 베네 차차보카르 마르타바이게 되더니 드스르 들리 라마이 예미쳐서 그때 원보소.
So now think that from the stream of nectar that emerges from the union of Vajradhara, Yab, Yum, and all the Buddhas of the 10 directions and 3 times, it melts into the nectar substance, just like snowflakes melting on a lake, or just like butter melts in hot water. So think that at this moment the nectar flowing from the Yab Yum Guru then merges with the nectar in the skull cup. So now think that from this nectar, a light radiates and it dissolves into your throat, and then it pervades all the channels in your body, and think that the channels and elements in your body are bestowed with blessings.
사지 좀디 내리 저때 다 버서 살랍탑지 나도 주민을 저기요래 그래서 로마탑들 피하요래 그래서 모다냐 카들을 총총데 도마가라다 최종말 기억을 야들이 오왕하도지 대바지 니코 딱반시 거래 그래서 그러면 나는데 유모이 싫어 저탑에 대사들이 내가 제발지요래.
So here at this point of the empowerment, we are offered nectar to drink, and so we will receive for that later the blessing pills. We also drink the nectar, but especially we'll receive a little pouch filled with blessing pills. And these blessing pills contain the blessings of all the great masters from India and Tibet, starting from the Buddha himself. So all the blessings are contained within those blessing pills that you will receive later. And you should take a small little grain of that every evening before you go to sleep. So the size is not important. It can be very small, a tiny little grain under your tongue as you go to sleep, and practice the Mahung Vajra recitation and then fall asleep. It is also important to eat that blessing pill each and every day. And then it really has a very unique power to transform the afflictive emotions into wisdom.
Om Ahong Saba Ahong. There's a sin love Chibatia, the general the lucid love Chibati, Tata Badabal, the Mayan Chibatilla, Sova took Gority, Shemata de la Sopa Gority, Lizzie Jasonta, Lizzie Chazo Tanga, Shimata, Yoma, say loved in Tatuk, Lizzie Jasonta, Lumata, the Hakona. 들이 마파가 소바리 들이 다다고서 리드 마오라 들이 나사도 내죠 이제래 하고서 들 사고랑도 요래서 사고랑도 지바들이 이제 뭔가 되더니 이 시간에 성다 차대래 이 뭔가 되 생다를 이 시간에 메다를 잘 메 사적 sem을 최소나 들라고 폭한 김치 잡지 마다마다 저리 나한테 잡도 참았다라고 요래 실랍지 바들이 대사서를 시리마다 봐 말에 내가 로버를 지인데 다로 로버를 지 무엇도 치마시바들이.
And so we are, our body is being endowed with some blessings. And so how we can understand these blessings here is that through the generation stage, the visualization of the deity, our body is actually being endowed with blessings. And that is because ordinarily we grasp at this impure body as the self. We identify with this body as the I. And we are attached to the various constituents, the 6 and so on of this body. So we are attached to this body, and then this attachment, this clinging attachment to the body melts like into an ocean. And so ultimately the body does not really inherently exist. Marpa also had said that if you don't understand the true nature of your body, then it becomes the basis of all illness and suffering. But if you understand the nature of the body, then you realize that the form of the deity is naturally established within your body. And this naturally established here means that this is your actual nature. By nature, that is the nature of the body. The 5 afflictive emotions are like the seeds of the five wisdoms. And when they encounter bodhicitta, then the 5 afflictions become the 5 wisdoms. The 5 afflictions are like wood, and the 5 wisdoms are like the fire. And when bodhicitta arises, then it is like the fire is encountering the wood, and the wood also turns into fire. And then the blessing here that is being conferred upon the body is that at this point then, all impurities of the ordinary grasping at the aggregates, the elements and the sense sources, the concept of a self, all of that is purified. And purified here means that actually by nature, ultimately, there is nothing that is actually impure. So what is being removed or purified are temporary conditions. And those temporary conditions that are being removed are those of grasping or believing at the reality of the concrete reality of appearances and our ideas that we attribute on them.
Aho Maha Sukham. Aho Maha Sukham. Haja Deva Chabo.
It's very great bliss. It means very great.
Deva Chabo the Sengutore. Not the Basabji Trasur, the Sengkor, Ashik Devare. 들이 시바찌들이만 코바르더라고요. 오, 내가 딱 벌고 내가 딱 벌고 들이 사자주고 딱 벌고 들이 내가 지지 매봐요. 나도 그때서 그래서.
So this great bliss is actually the natural state of your mind. It is the natural state that is free of all grasping at any thoughts. And that natural state is naturally blissful. And once you begin to cling and to grasp, you are creating samsara. So if you always want to experience great bliss, great joy, then you should stay in a state of Mahamudra. When you always rest within a state of Mahamudra, there is an ongoing, continuous experience of great bliss. And when thoughts arise and you grasp at thoughts, that is what creates all suffering.
첩정 수배 대화 제부 조다지 신양선 요원
Then it says, So sounds of joy and light rays of bliss emerging from the union of the Guru Vajradhara and the consort Vajradopa, who is a manifestation of his own nature, invite the Buddhas of the 10 directions who enter into their mouths and melt through their love. The melted essence, having the nature of white and red bodhicitta nectar, flows from the secret space of the mother and merges with the nectar of the kapalam, and think that this nectar is offered onto your tongue.
第三个望头那个这么他老让你特地个嘛了望这个速度就long个这不你把七八几要把也都是。
The bodhicitta essence reaches your throat, where it pervades all channels of the throat chakra. Think that you now experience an inexpressible wisdom of great bliss. You have received the secret empowerment. All defilements of speech are purified, and you are empowered to practice the path of taking your own body as the means. The seed to attain the Vajra speech of the Sambhogakaya, as a result, has been placed into your mind.
날람도 간에 이 시절에 마도도랑 조포섬 조바게 송내 지랑 남라 사제그도 돈도 대반비해서.
And then from the Guru's heart emerges a wisdom consort with perfect body and youth. Think that you are given this consort in order to accomplish the Mudra Siddhi.
근데 냠뇽 공걸 라루게 세군대로 냠뇽 대라지래 되니 호화가 되니 유모 랍드처럼 탑을 유모 랍드처럼 탑을.
And so this is not taking your own body as a means, is that through the experience, having experienced the natural state of your own mind, then you are taking the afflictive emotions, the states of samsara, the afflictive emotions as the path.
아가들에들라면 나서도지 엄마 체체 선바제 젤라죠 바다도 이제 저랑도지 장지뭐 사와다 대바르마티 좀 돌지니마 뭐 대바네서 로서도 가다도지 빼면서 왜 저도 bejo 대바지 습지 탑지 호와래다 습지 탑지 잡아도 Dishita Jesus, Jabajova, Nabajo, Beasan, Jerova, Babe, Mardo, Sardo Puramba, Meti, Medi, Beagavian, Soyova, Bela, Teto, Yemi Bangala, Rola Nabajo, the top, the three, and Tolatari, Devati. 라가 세브라시게 되어야면 대학원에 대편춘 니디메가 대사를 양치 연구를 했지.
So this is the skillful means, the experience of great bliss, but it must be understood that great bliss is actually the natural state of your own mind, and with that understanding, you must experience an experience of non-duality towards one another.
시랍이 시족왕토 이저트마다 람진류 번야고바라 왕 저거 토도저거 근데 바치바지 저번에 봐도 이제
You have received knowledge, wisdom, empowerment. All defilements of the mind are purified, and you are empowered to practice the path of taking another person's body as the means. The seed to attain the Vajra mind of the Dharmakaya, as a result, has been placed into your mind.
대시들이 답이 또 싫었지만 다음은 이양 맞아 봐하고 별 미치고 따라 옹내이래 내이마라 되니 르라따나 이래 그래서 새로 딱 깨다 양다 딱 깨다 새로 랑거스로 쳤딱 깨마다나 하고 랑거스로 쳤딱 깨다 그리 시바들라들이 남시들 딱 깨다 남시 코랑들이 딱 버리 요래 나도 이제 여러분 남시 코랑 걸로 딱 깨다나 들이 시바싹 똥 나가다가 남도 대바가 마고 바치 바래들이 사토 남카다에 차는데 남카는 이오 세도다 이면도 잡아들 로 주면 오 로데 적 와서면도 적 고저 타만 잡서 니 이사도 때문에 프레파레 대다도 고아탄 샤토고 그래 이시 받으라 니 매와실 다시 오스면 이면도 선도라야 선거는 이면도 나갔다 그래 제가 리시지 니도 사보건 낚시 서르게 남바sab시베 낚시들이 시발때 이 낚시들을 쳐와야 요래 깨와야 요래들이 레사고 요래 이 시인들이 되봤다 하고 요래.
So there is the knowledge, wisdom, empowerment, and so here knowledge is the perfection of wisdom, of knowledge, and that is to know that that within the mind there is no separation between self and others. So it is the wisdom that realizes selflessness. And when you realize that there is no self, then you can also understand that there is no other. And so even though there is an appearance of other, for example, when you look at you and your friend, so you look at each other, but what you see is two bodies, two forms. And so to understand the nature of the other, you have to look at your own mind again and again. You directly look at the actual nature of your consciousness. You can't understand the other without looking at your own mind. So you look at your own consciousness, and you will find that that consciousness, this awareness, actually always remains. It is always there. Just the thoughts and the feelings that arise, they come and they go. But that awareness that always remains, that is clear and empty and pervading like space. And when you look at this awareness directly, when all past thoughts have stopped and no future thought has yet arisen, you directly look into this present space of awareness, you find that within sky-like nature there is no duality. So there is no duality within the mind. For example, there are many different light sources, light bulbs in this world, but then there's only one such thing called light, or electricity, light energy. So when you see that, when you realize that to believe that there is a duality is really a great confusion, a confused state. So actually this understanding then first of all naturally arises by looking at your mind. And that is that knowledge. And wisdom, primordial wisdom, is when you actually realize non-duality. When you actually realize that there is no duality within the mind. So basically, for as long as there is a dualistic perception, you call that awareness, that mind, a consciousness. And a consciousness is the mind that is projecting outward and discerning external outer objects. And that consciousness is bound to birth and death, and that consciousness accumulates karma. But when you realize that that very consciousness is non-dual, it is non-dual consciousness, you realize that all of that birth and death and all appearances are just like an illusion, and that non-dual awareness is called primordial wisdom.
상례 저게 축구 우주세 바에 사제 탐지제 추적과 라라게 통도 오대바도 지도들을 잡아줘 봐서 다다다 저로 차지 당범자 거래 라고 세군대로 그렇다래 다들 장세로들이 내배지마도 마원들 봐서 다다 남시들 나도 가서 신경 시바테 초정을 나도 시바들이 시바들이 정되네 시바데게 대바가 마음과 맞게 시바데 살라메 요래 고치 보여 보가들이 살라는 게나 또 동번한지 하고 동번이들이 나갔다를 직tam에 나도 나갔다를 차고 동번 나갔다를 동번 또 정말 봐서 나갔다를 레서 쉽게 시바싸고 형들이 예래 들이 시바싸고 가리 다 통투고 얼마 때문에 통고통서 그래 놀라지 싸고 하고 그래 가르치거든 직tam에도 나갔다 왔다 그래 제살라베 하고 이들이 살아 야 동가 좀 들고서 보여요 도지 창여용 무슨 뜨거나 딱할 생골 내려가 힘내 대래 많이 줘서 봤어요. 이 공자고 해야 되나 당처럼 됐어요.
Then continue to abide within a state of fixed body posture and gaze. Through the illustrative wisdom experienced during the third empowerment, you now recognize your true nature, the essence of innate awareness that is wholeness by nature and that abides as the life force of everything, samsara and nirvana. In this moment of recognition, all temporary defilements and karmic imprints are cleared away. As a result of separating from these obscurations, you actualize the Dharmakaya. Now meditate and absorb your mind in the Vajra words, whereby you see and recognize self-knowing naked awareness, which is the Dharmakaya of all Buddhas. Primordial wisdom is great and subtle. It is like a Vajra or like the center of the sky. It is immaculate perfection. It is peace. You are its own father. So here at this point, we are instructed to meditate for a little while. And now when we meditate, look directly at the nature of your mind. And do not entertain any thoughts of the past. Do not anticipate the future. Look at the present moment of your consciousness. What you need to recognize is the awareness that recognizes all the thoughts and mental arising in your mind. That awareness is always there. It never ceases to be, and that needs to be recognized. So when there is no thought of the past and no thought of the future has yet arisen, there still is this clear, empty awareness that is there, the consciousness. And when you look at it directly, you see that it is just like space, empty, completely empty. But it is not just nothing. There is also a knowing capacity that knows its own empty nature. It knows itself. And that is the aspect of clarity. So there is a clear knowing awareness that knows its own empty nature. There is awareness. It is just that we cannot see it. But there is an awareness, a knowing awareness there that clearly knows its own space-like nature. And so now in secret mantra terms, we refer to this clarity aspect as the yap or the male, and the emptiness aspect as the yum or the female. And that is also the meaning of the deities Samantabhadra and Yap Yum, or Vajradhara and Yap Yum aspect. So that is the state of union, of clarity and emptiness that you must always remain within. And that is the actual nature of the mind. That is that nature that cannot be expressed by words. So now here at this point we should meditate for some time.
이제는 치사시아 도제는 그쳤다가 도달사시와니 추적파를 추이로서 이 시들의 치사시아 송화단 디바시라 통열 말이 시제 통고서나 통통이요 말이 도제는 그쳤다가 도제시가 소지 직장 매여들 지셔면서 철지와 뭐 파시와 말이 잡을지 사강도 토성을 센터야 말고 세상도 나갔다 와서 나갈 짓을 해봐야지. 도지양이 말 나가야 또 봐야 봐. 도지에서 도지 다른 탈시 시와에도 대중 삼체도 자와레들이 다속 사지사 대레스 조지팔에 주의해놔서인데 이제 홍요 말이죠. 서로 담보 강성 빠져가는데 너를 제가 해서 저를 동서고요래 내 돌대서 돈 로에 주의해 라그스에서 또 나갔다가 돈을 때 딱지나도 딱지 땅에 도서 열마들 초용고요래 파트티스라 초대 가족이 책을들이 정말 것이나 요 애들이 다 전에 락통그 뭐야 돼 성크로 내려 말이야 납시 이시디나 납시 뭐라 이거를 이제요래 그런 이제요 말에 그랬더라 이시드 그리 이식감가 돌아더니 얘네 옆에 예시사 토발이요래 마음을 미소스로 소라나데 해야요 말이야 사지 고박들로 야들어야 요 말이야 그랬더니 제시베 봐 예시 얘네 옆에 예시사 탐지 10배 시시사 그때 다른 소리들 사지가 뒤서보데 사지가 탐지 집에 시안들의 연구요래 그때 그 콜데 탐지를 잡들 대나들이 콜데 탐지를 내려 마리바들이 때라 이시고 나서 이 발 제시가로서 이시마 성격을 용지 그래서 이시마대도 대한테라 시한 거래 무슨 다달래 딱 뭐가 탐지 딱지만 뭐 맞다 태가를 세웠다. 이 시대 나도 시기 시바트 나도 다 보면 시바트 쳐도 코레지. 시바트 쳤다 보자 내정아들이 대 시바트게 먹고를 나도 더 시작하고 요래 사바다 이제다 보자 하고 요래 내가 뭐서 빵나는 요래 타툭도는 빵나는 요말 살짝 줘버렸더니 가족 좋아도 지고래 지고라 살았다 들리기들이 다다 가만히서 담면서 yap내가 마이와 제 오면 내렸다 미소야.
So the last verse here said primordial wisdom is great and subtle. So it is subtle because it is something that we cannot see. It is insubstantial. But we want to see it. So there is an intention of I want to see it. But actually the seer and what is to be seen are not non-dual. So it is great and also subtle. Then it is like a vajra, or like the center of the sky, like a vajra, because even though you cannot see it, it is there being a nature that is indestructible. It is never born and it never dies. It never ceases to be. Even if the entire world comes to an end, the mind cannot be destroyed. So the mind itself remains without or transcending birth and death. So that is the Vajra-like nature, or the space-like nature of the mind. So the ultimate Vajra is the empty nature of the mind. And then it says, it is immaculate perfection. It is free of all faults. That is the state, the ultimate state of enlightenment. And then it says, you are your own father. And that is that, what that means is that the mind has no origin, no source where it arises from. So it is free from arising, abiding, and cessation. It is not an object to be comprehended by the intellect. And for this reason, you must recognize this clear empty awareness, but you should not analyze it, because when you begin to analyze it, the mind becomes confused again. So like in the practice of Chekchum or direct cut, you must look at the mind in a very direct manner. Also, this is how we practice shamatha or vipassana. This also has the nature of vipassana or insight, actually, the nature of the mind. So the essence of consciousness is we call it dualistic consciousness for as long as we perceive a duality. We call it primordial awareness when there is no more grasping at duality. And primordial because it has been there since beginningless time. It has always been there without any beginning. And it will always be there in future times. Even if you take birth in the 3 lower realms, that nature will never cease to be, it will never die. And later when you attain enlightenment, it has not gotten any better. It still is as it is, unchanging, beyond birth and death. So that is primordial. And it is wisdom because it knows everything. Once you have perfected, mastered the realization of this awareness, then your mind pervades the mind of all the Buddhas of the 3 times, all of samsara and nirvana. And from that, then the qualities of the 5 wisdoms arise. So from a single mind, those 5 qualities arise. We accomplish the 3 kayas, and 5 qualities, the 5 wisdoms arise. So as beginning practitioners, however, it is now important that we do not analyze the mind much, but it is better to look at the mind very directly and look at the clear awareness that is always present. There is a clear awareness that knows what thought and emotion arises, and it's that one that you need to recognize. That awareness is actually always there. And when that awareness is always sustained, then through this awareness, all undesirable thoughts, the negative emotions become pacified, and the mind of love and compassion arises. So temporarily, there is a path of a practice of adopting and abandoning, where we abandon the afflictive emotions and we adopt love and compassion. But on the ultimate level, when we actually rest within a state of Mahamudra, that state is free from acceptance and rejection. There is no adopting or discarding of any sort. So think about the meaning of these words. We take a break for 20 minutes, and during the break, remain within a state of non-distraction, practice the Amahong, and look at the nature of your mind.
Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum.
Everybody, please stand. 6:30. We'll start serving. They'll start serving at 7. And Garchen Rinpoche is going to be there. We're young, 82nd young birthday. To Chair, thank you.
Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mani Padme Hum.
忘记把头，我从长兄节这马把查到去把打，老们参加去把我把老帮，这个一些到的我一个这个，你把去把地区了，要不然没走去，
And then you have received the fourth empowerment. All stains and karmic imprints of your 3 doors are purified all at once, and you are empowered to meditate on the path of Mahamudra, the seed to attain the Vajra wisdom of the Svabhavika Kaya, as a result, has been placed into your mind. So here we mentioned the fourth kaya, the Svabhavika or essence kaya, And so the fruition of Vajrayana secret mantra practice is the accomplishment of the 4 kayas. And that is first the Nirmana kaya. And the Nirmana kaya, actually it is said that all of the beings in the 6 realms of samsara, they all are Nirmana kayas. And how are the Nirmana kayas? It is that partially, like half of them is pure and the other half is impure. So pure and impure coexist in samsara. And there is an appearance of various forms and bodies. But the mind, on the basis, by nature, is pure. It is only temporarily obscured, temporarily defiled by this grasping at a self, and actually there is no self. And this has caused the mind to become just like water mixed with milk. So it is due to the dualistic grasping at self and other that the mind is temporarily in an impure state. And so there is an outer, inner, and secret level. On the outer level, there are the 5 elements that also constitute our bodies. On the inner level, there are the 5 afflictive emotions, and secretly, there are the 5 wisdoms. And all of these are connected to each other. It is just like fire and wood. And so when you practice the generation stage, the visualization of the deity, and gradually these karmic imprints are being purified, and you accomplish the Sambhogakaya. So you emerge from being a Nirmanakaya into a rainbow-like Sambhogakaya. And a Sambhogakaya possesses the perfect qualities of knowledge, of compassion, and of the power to grant protection. And the Sambhogakaya nature, within that nature, there's also no grasping at a concrete reality of things, and there is no grasping at giving things various attributes or characteristics. The nature is empty. The nature of this mind is empty. So in this way, the Sambhogakaya is in union with the Dharmakaya. And then ultimately, when you realize that realization then is called the Svabhavika or essence kaya. That is when all the obscurations in your own mind have been completely purified. And then within that completely pure state, anything can be reflected. Any appearance can arise. That is also the relation to the mirror-like wisdom. So when you realize the Svabhavika Kayam, that is the final state of enlightenment. When you realize that your own mind, the basis of your own mind in essence, is free of all duality. That mind is primordial awareness. So it is when you look at your own mind and you realize its true nature, that is when you realize the 4th kaya, the Svabhavika Kaya. So from the Dharmakaya arises the Sambhogakaya, from the Sambhogakaya, then Nirmanakaya, and then finally when you realize the nature of your mind, then you actualize the Svabhavika or essence Kaya. So most of you have heard about that, know about that, but maybe some of you are not familiar with this.
Ti jogo wang ko tomong wa trapala tene tomong mai pe sanak sa mo tra para se para me pa te jan do je de jogo de yo pe la ma do je chang ti ke je la ne jar de je nam jo jo ba do ma la je ba do je no ko do kha sa yi shi je sin se me ba ba wa za ba dang ji ji pe ji no to Bapola to Bawata Pokalinga, Japsumo Lowe, Color, Lagus, Gonzaga Serra, Karanchuba Sai, Yinatin, Dorju Yang Lang, some Dubayun, Yam Jato, Bad, the Kana, some Robert of the Joe, Kajuto, some of the things about or City Bam, Devachimba, Gibe, Sijo, Go, Tram, Dang, the years, Rupa, make but was so much case of Matu Nadara. Another Randara Joa told us and you miss Hajachim, but it's also joking about other number of you want things on the Jetana, major as the water, among cherry, Yamato, public of Zoom, Turkey, and comes on water the justice of Sejanova. No, rather humble bother maybe to pay or subject bishop to Parasav, Jinga. Children of your girl, little major bought in here. Wait to a huggy or Nang the Guru Rama, the Portugal, Hong she just does a road that the Bacala Mamma Donkey. The Mergi show, my education Bejado, you or there is a boot on the sober, my father, Chip, so the quite chance at Lord.
Thus, the common empowerments are completed. In order to receive the uncommon profound blessings, visualize the following. The Guru Vajradharam abides in front of you and instantly transforms into the Chetsun Milarepa, the Lord of Yogis, Mila Shepa Dorje. His color is blue-green and he radiates with the magnificent splendor of his wisdom mind. He looks at you, smiling and with delightful countenance. His hair flows freely down his back. He wears a white cotton cloth as his upper robe and a meditation belt around his shoulders. His right hand is at his ear and he is singing Vajra songs of realization. His left hand is in the gesture of meditation and holds a skull filled with nectar. He sits with his legs moving to the melody. The ocean of Kagyu masters gathering like clouds surround him. The radiance of his vast, innate, and unchanging great bliss wisdom form is overwhelmingly brilliant, like the hard core of the blazing sun. With his speech, he proclaims the primordial natural sound of the Mahayana and Vajrayana. He always abides in meditation, a state of Mahamudra, which is profundity and luminosity non-dual, the unity of great bliss emptiness. His qualities are indivisible from the qualities of all Buddhas, and his enlightened deeds are limitless. He is an unfathomable teacher whose miraculous display is everywhere. He overpowers the three realms and outshines the three planes of existence. Think that a limitless host of gods and goddesses present inconceivable arrays of offerings. In the presence of these, imagine that the skull of your body of karmic ripening is split in half. Your whole body is cut up and its pieces are poured into the skull. The nectar of wisdom has 100 tastes. It radiates white light with the glow of red and is filled to the brim. The Vajra light tongue of the Guru, the great Chetsun, spreads out to receive the offering.
Dina, which is just Milarepa, Patamania, Jagapaya, Sansan, Lad, Takona, Jaya, Javakan, Patabak owner, or two Popata Chava, Kong Jagavati, Robotari, the Changa Kalate, or Esse, Tabak, you know, not to talk with it. Milarepa, oh yeah, the three Kapara Chako, Kapana de Sertok, the Tomo Member, the Lepas in a log. Three days issuing us in a love, just a cuddle, nothing. 3 days summer, Milarepa, Tabasajing, Trinity, Yamate, the Kalas, the Namtan, and the Betty. Then I just think so that the jury that I look at Jimban Chupai or 30, you look at Dante, the security, Pedro, Namtan, or it.
At the time of Milarepa, Milarepa was contemporary with Padampa Sangye, and so once they met somewhere at the border between India and Nepal, and then Padampa Sangye said to Milarepa, so you're a Tibetan, so you're local, you're native, and I came from India, so I'm the guest, and that means that you have to serve food to me. But they actually both didn't have anything because they're both wandering yogis. But then Milarepa anyway said, sure, and he chopped off the skull, and he caused fire of tumult to blaze, and he poured in the brains, which then turned into a nectar of the 5 nectars, having the quality of the 5 wisdoms and having 5 colors. And then they each emanated 5 emanations, so 5 guests emanated by Milarepa and 5 by Padampa Sangye, and those were the guests that then enjoyed the feast offering. It seems that there's this story, there's a film on this Milarepa story, which is really excellent, and that explains that too. But in any case, the offering of one's illusory body is an act of generosity and offering in order to destroy the grasping at a self. So that story can be found in Milarepa's life story.
Om Ahong Om Ahong Om Ahong.
Everyone repeat.
Om Ahong. Oh, she do be, she just does a rope jatang thing. Akala mama dang ji the merji. Shwa lama jete jibe jao the dorji bogutal the sove. Me bada jibe the sharze roja dinchen impo pa ledger deme yeba dorjela tepe parve roa dadakun Jordan Tenzin Sela Tubarsho Om Ahong Gora Hasa Beza Gana Takta Saparevare Be Adam Baling Drahanita Mama Sarva Siddhe Netra Yesak. Ina to the most of the provided that also so Mercedes Lunga is to couple give it for a quarter of it, have it, Taco Chosum Pavari Muse, Triteke. Rang the Bata, the Regina, so now so TV, that Luke given to what they was Luke Pavari, the song that don't that to give out not to do nothing. Just is so they cheddar, my so give out a course, some one said it of their pingo, or something, la tamojar, Oman baby home, dinner to the undertale. Some just had it of the torrent, simply some shit at me. My people just were your lawyer, Sergeant Chopata, simply to join you at the chickly and we are definitely did the time you mocked over the song, Tanner, by Regina, the Logais of Givar could be the control and Bakua, the Samin, Chin of Air, we are it.
So having made this offering of one's body, we make an offering, we offer our body to the three jewels. And what that really means is that it is to practice virtue. And when you practice virtue with body, speech, and mind throughout your entire life, then you have actually made an offering, offered yourself to the three jewels. And by doing so, you purify your own obscurations, and also you accumulate great merit. So when you practice virtue with the body, you are really offering your body. So this is what is explained here in this verse, and of offering our body. And Chikden Sumgön therefore also said in our opening prayer, for this purpose I will apply body, speech, and mind to virtue. The purpose is to benefit sentient beings, a wish to benefit sentient beings from the bottom of your heart. And with that wish, you join your palms, and with your speech, you recite Om Mani Padme Hum. And doing that, you accumulate the merit equal to all the Buddhas of the 3 times. And you are accomplishing a vast benefit for sentient beings. Actually, the offering made to the Buddhas and the purification of sentient beings' obscurations happens at the same time. And sometimes, even though we become controlled by afflictions, every time we remember and we develop faith and we practice virtue, we are actually offering ourselves to the 3 jewels. So it is important for all to understand this. Then it says, multiplying your body as many times as there are atoms in the universe, bow with your crown to the lotus feet of the Guru, respectfully prostrate, together with all sentient beings, extensive as the sky, join your palms and repeat the following. So each time you make an offering to the Buddhas, think that you multiply your body and as many as there are atoms in the universe as you make offerings together with all sentient beings.
Sangso, Mumbi, Maramna, Kamla, Nima, Chandrave, Tupa, Gashi, Savaye, Jiva, Dela, Changsaro.
In English, homage to the sage, called Töpaga, who rises like the sun, above the snowy mountains, in the dense darkness of the northern land.
The Pishi Narobaki, Milarepa, the pool to top this of Yopang Sache, or Sajaki nowadays.
So this supplication actually was spoken by the Pandita Naropa, who saw that there is this great Siddha, this master in Tibet, Milarepa, and so he was facing towards the northern direction, joining his palms when he spoke these words.
Misal tame ye tole tomati shirab ye wang somo me ba zo te da na da we lo ba lam do se bo ko ma da wang nam so ya no
Having paid homage and supplicated with deep yearning, the blessings of his enlightened body emerge from the forehead of the great Rebam, the Chitzen, the Lord of Yogis, as a stream of white bodhicitta nectar related to the left Gyangma channel. It dissolves into the forehead and purifies the defilements of the channels in your body. Thus you have obtained the vase empowerment. The blessings of his enlightened speech emerge from his throat as a stream of red bodhicitta rakta drops related to the right Roma channel. It dissolves into your throat and purifies the defilements of the wind energies related to your speech. Thus you have obtained the secret empowerment. The blessings of his enlightened mind emerge from the point between his eyebrows as a stream of bodhicitta drops of semen and blood related to the central channel. It dissolves into the point between your eyebrows and purifies the defilements of the bindu drops related to your mind. Thus you have obtained the knowledge, wisdom, empowerment. These were the three symbolic empowerments that reveal the ultimate nature.
대신에 왕진의 쇼모가 진짜 왕 톰나 랑거 왕리 쪽요래 왕리제들이 니마르레기들이 쪼바지 뒤서고 그 어떤지 왕거량 제발 송을 용용마도 말이야 들때 상하가 담책양 차타비 장치발라 왕쇼고래 담책양 양상 왕쇼 왕시 사면은 랑거 왕질이나 그 왕건데 바군에 탑고요래 들때 마제가 들 왕도 다 상화 시소나 우리랑 냠슬이지 저 봐이나 랑거 왕랑네 랑거 냠슬이 초과들이 되게 당아요. 근데 냠슬이 시소로 됐어. 저 왕도 하자 같이 뭐 랑거 왕이 다 땅데 랑거 왕이 되는 자와 왕들랑들이 저들이 제바티 타병 되는 자와 치고요래. 그리고서 냠이들 라마 초과 냠이 저 랑거 왕들이 저래 왕 탐지겠냐고 하고들랑거 왕이지 하자는데 바치와 상왕 말에 왕 탐지는데 바치와래.
So now we have understood the meaning of you've understood the meaning of the empowerment, and also have understood the qualities of the Buddha's knowledge, the Buddha's compassion and power. And also you have understood that the unified nature of the Dharmakayam and Sambhogakayam pervade the animate and inanimate universe and all beings. And so with that knowledge you have received the empowerment. And now having received the empowerment once, then actually from there on it is also fine and permissible for you to take a self-empowerment, take an empowerment yourself. And for that sake, Lord Chigden Sumgen actually gave a very special practice that can be practiced as a daily practice. It is called the Samadhi empowerment. And it is in a way a guru yoga practice, but also indirectly actually also a way to take a self-empowerment. And also taking an empowerment not only authorizes you to engage in a practice, but also every time we receive an empowerment, we are also purifying any broken samayas and commitments and so on. So when you understand all of this, then you really have found the actual power, acquired the power of the empowerment. So it is acquired through understanding the actual meaning of the empowerment. So once you have understood the meaning of the empowerment, you have received the instructions, you understand, you know how to engage in practice, you receive the empowerment, then it is also permissible to take the empowerment yourself, like a self-empowerment. And actually that self-empowerment is that you practice on a daily basis is actually also related to the empowerments we have received here right now. And then also this empowerment is related to the practice of the Lama Chöpa. But in brief, when you understand the core of all empowerments, the meaning, then it becomes very, very powerful. And then you can also take a self-empowerment.
Korwala Thoma Mugu Trapu Pasoto Soa de Badani Rijuda Yansu Soa Shot Adi Janakara Milarepa Nakakawa Gone, etc. Kaju Tasaka, Kordi Yoga, Japongave, Musijo, Toknamchi, Shiti Chukanam Kata, Yosa.
So now think that in the space before you abides Milarepa, filling up the entire space, and he is surrounded by the past Kagyu masters gathering around him like clouds. So think that this assembly is actually here, and it is actually here as their wisdom mind, the space-like Dharmakaya nature is all pervasive.
Yemala Yebado Yelozo and Ezo 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 Tende Chiranam Chiranam Rene Nam Nugget Chudita Timbe Tata Yoame La Yoame Sem Tusum Topa Sem Tusum Nam Dog Drop the Maheba Raring was a good at it, so you miss Hajachim on the Yaman Yopa, there are never go on water, but Sir Jitinam you was already watching the channel to other Tambasara, and go more to it about 20 about you remember me about to
Then it says, assume the 7-point posture of Vairocana and steadily fix your gaze. Meditate evenly and do not engage the mind in any thoughts pertaining to the past, present, or future. Rest in innate self-knowing awareness that is free from all conceptual fabrications. Rest in a state of bliss emptiness, the inexpressible nature of Mahamudra, thus introducing you to the true nature of mind. The Jitsun, the Lord of Yogis, the great Rebam, bestows instructions by singing a spontaneous Vajra song of realization. As he imparts to you the warmth of his realization, the realization of the ultimate truth dawns within your mind.
Nisa me ba tai ve don yi hua me ba guan be song de zhou ba jue be dan de shen yi mi zhe be dan da wan de la zhe zong zong gu ba de la zhe zong jiu ba de la zhe zong zang zhe bu de la zhe zong Taviyazer samche dana nasi samsan da samni savan da selam zong meba taviyazer samche ala do kombe samche dana nabdo chije korada pasarma makro ropaja bada kombe samche ala do chije samche dana kike jeda me bada the job on the me, but not you on the me. You better some there, I don't ever share on the me, but not your dear to the me. I say, Sajay, but not ever there, the junior on his agent, Zenitrini, Tom, the Queen Lamare, the Mato, but the Lingido te bai Gesù tenitandi la congiunzione di da sani di na che go kashi o sare le donna tavse se di non tan longtemps il mi se stata satan to il mi satan to il mi 다와들을 빼나 나올 시타지 종크리 셈리다 달라네 소드면서 바티 쳤대 마오가 하고 그래 그래서 나와서 그런 거 셈도 나와 셈서 타지 셈이 동바 타지다 이제 감도가 셈이 좋아해 선도 나주 저들이 상우적 저들이 차나도 셈이 가서 그들이 배차 마음대로 차요래 특히 차들 지저버 탐체들 제랑 직접 받아봐래 그래도 정치 세면 쳤다나 하고 하고 정치 세를 쳤다나 감성 수지 센터랑 그 성대로 접아래 세군 내로 서들들이 썩당 맞도 마이너스 썰되는 신납 갔다 그때 또만 나갔다 그때 서 하고 다때 마행분할 때는 뒤로는 나또 잡아서 되게래서 아무 저런도 장을 뒤로는 되는들이 마지 나도 더지 차다 처럼 이제들 원자 집에 답지 나도 차다 말았다 이제 그런 거를 sep진 답지 나도 처럼 쪽으로 뚝뚝뚝뚝 지르래서 뒤고 와서는 가는 차로 가게 차서 다지 차서 아래 이제 이거보다 심할래시네 다지 니 tambo 말고 하고서 저는 들들기는 나도 내가 쳐봐야 막 하고는 죽을 팔아도 세우네 들 샘처럼 참았다가 들 샘이 이제 상기 또 당진게 나진 그진을 토거래 대수 말에 돌나 들 사탕마도 용해서 네들 원고도 샘이 나도 살아나 들 잡아서 잡아서 쳐봐야지 잡았던 마진이 바로 컨트롤 하나 써서 컨트롤 중요해가 시송아 바로 과거를 실고 그랬지 감작자들이 너가서 이제 영배수아래 저때 하고는 남도 시작던 애들이 뽑아 탔어 말에 마인벌는 남도 시작하고 그래 다 조금 때 다음때 야산이 그러면은 뭐 가시요 살에
And so what Rinpoche was just reciting here in the text was a song on the three nails, the nails of the view, meditation, and the conduct. But Rinpoche highlights then the nail within the three nails of meditation, and this, it says thoughts are dharmakaya. And secondly, innate awareness is the continuous nature of clarity. It was the view, the nails of the view. Mind itself is the continuous nature of clarity. Mind itself being the continuous nature of clarity, it is that you realize that all the phenomena that appear, all appearing phenomena are created by the mind. That is also explained in the verse on the ultimate truth in the 37 Bodhisattva practices. It says, the way things appear is your own mind. So we need to understand that all appearances are the mind, and the mind is emptiness. And everything, the entire 3 realms of existence are created by the mind. The outer universe is a creation of the collective karmas and imprints of sentient beings. And then the great variety of individual sentient beings is created through their individual karmas. And whatever is created, this great variety of creation is compounded, and therefore everything is impermanent. So when you look at the one who has created all that, your own mind, you will understand. You will realize that the mind of all sentient beings in the 3 realms of samsara and my own mind are actually the same. So everything is clear. It says the mind itself is the continuous nature of clarity. So the mind, the clarity of mind is the mind that realizes its own space-like empty nature. You clearly know yourself. It is self-knowing awareness. And then you need to remain within that awareness without distraction. Once you begin to grasp at thoughts, you are accumulating karma, and the mind becomes like an ice block. But if you remain without distraction within that state, without any grasping, then whatever arises becomes just like a wave on water, rising and subsiding. On the other hand, samsaric sentient beings are like ice blocks floating on that ocean, and they constantly bump into each other. So what has happened? Why is the mind frozen like a block of ice? It is because we grasp at a self. It is because we cling to the belief in a dualistic existence, where we grasp at the substantial existence of appearances and we give them characteristics that we grasp at. And so when you realize that self and other do not actually exist, you will understand that all of these thoughts arising in relation to them are also confusions. And in that way, you perfect the practice of patience. And then the mind cannot freeze into an ice block. You have realized that the basic nature of your mind is actually the Buddha. So primarily, the reason why we freeze into an ice block all comes down to this grasping at a self, the reality of a self, a dualistic reality. And so when you meditate, so this verse here explains the point of meditation. When you meditate and when you rest within a state of meditation and a thought arises, you know that when you grasp at this thought, when you hold on, you will again become confused. If you do not grasp, then the thought dissolves on its own. For example, if another person gets angry at you, and you recognize that this is only the fault of the affliction of anger, and you do not get angry in return, then it is possible that even the other person's anger will dissolve. You have realized then that all suffering is created by these afflictive emotions. So when you're able to let go of all thoughts that arise without grasping, then you have mastered meditation. And you master meditation by sustaining a state of non-distraction. And so we'll talk more about these songs in the teachings tomorrow, when we talk about the spiritual songs of Milarepa.
나시 샘슨 주제다서 대치고 하고 저기 저걸 따고 하고네 나시 샘슨 주제다 도바들라 네 고야 기치고 요래 네 따와데 소지대서 모두 따와 하고 초박강 지열이 초박의 지열이 맨니가 오나 속차가리라 오 마서 세위제대 직발이지 로다오리 문에 직발에서 대체선매와 하고 더블 로제요래 로진 대치발이자 딱 세군대로 문에 하거나 대도 초와도 있지는 오 드니랑 셈을 가이샤 고소라 초화되지야 하고는들이 나와 셉스 타지들이 더 대하고 따지 하고는들이 대양도 다 보잖아. 들이 갈래 들이 나와 셉스 타 줘야 된다고들. 소도 초화다 로드 지 빨리도 없상. 그리고서 mình 왔다 그래서 세고 이제 지 빨리도 하고는 대표모 빈소 제거로 나서 소소 대도 하고 아마도 원도 그요 말이 대기치 뭐 살에
And so then, where is this? It says, everything that appears and exists scatters within the mind. That's also important to understand in terms of the view. And so when you understand the view, that all of appearance and existence actually arises from your own mind, then you see what feeling arises in your mind. For example, when you're in this room that is filled with people, then the feeling that arises is that you know that any being, whether it's those people here or animals and so on, all living beings have a single basis of mind. There is this one basis of mind which is like light energy. Like in this world, there is only one such a thing called light. There's only one light. So when you resolve that point without any doubts in your mind, you have really understood the nature of mind, and that kind of feeling then arises. And when that feeling arises in your own mind, it is also felt by others surrounding you. So that is when you resolve that appearances are your own mind, and that is the understanding of the view. And once you have understood the view, you need to sustain that view continuously, and until you finally realize that all appearances are the mind. So a feeling arises when you understand that, which is just like this feeling that everything is a whole, like this electricity or light energy in this world. For example, all the people in this room are experienced to have a single basis of mind. And so even just to understand that is extremely beneficial. I myself have actually can say only an understanding of that. I have not been able to meditate much on that, but that seems to be important.
따와 죽어 하고 저는 되게 고만냥들이 이제 들이 람만나와리 당보다 하마와리 공하고 요래서 들이 돈 람만 몰랬지네더니 람마데 semti와 차고 sem지치 봐요. 되게 좋아지 저거 요래서
And then in the end of that song, it says that there's basically 12 nails, and it says these 12 nails come down to a single one. And that really, so it is the nail of empty dharmata, and it is planted by the guru again and again until the realization dawns in your mind. So it is the single nail really is to understand the view, and that is that there is a single basis of mind, for example, between yourself and the guru. And you realize that when there is a compassionate guru and a disciple with devotion, when they come together, then the compassionate guru introduces that to the disciple, and from mind to mind, it is transmitted, and the disciple can recognize the nature of mind in this way. And so the point is that it is difficult to understand the nature of the mind only by relying on words. One realizes the nature of the mind by cultivating devotion to the guru. And so if you only understand this view and engage in practice, habituate this view, then you are on an unmistaken path. But if you do not understand this view in the beginning, then it will be very difficult to really develop meditation. So when you cultivate devotion to the Guru, that is how you merge, you realize that your mind and the Guru's mind are one, and this is how you merge your mind with the Guru's mind. And you merge your mind with the Guru's mind because, to begin with, by nature, the mind has a single basis, and so that is the view. And this is how that experience of the nature of mind is transmitted from the Guru to the disciple.
Lama jitu namjo yawang so chen bo se yo go hong na ba te bi shone cherang na lo septi tbe ko song tu ge yu de salat ma ri ba tu ju lo ba ta ba je de ba mu zo ke.
If you do not realize it, then pray with deep devotion again and again. Please endow my mind with blessings. Then think that the body of the Guru, the Jetsun, the Lord of Yogis, the great Ripa, melts into a mass of light and dissolves into you. Thus his enlightened body, speech, mind, qualities, and blessings without exception are transferred and take root within your mind.
그 탐지를 냠도 탐송삼 상국적인 용화가 나오지 sempre 탐지를 줄 차바바바는 이제 탐송도 대사를 공고했지.
And so here you should visualize that the entire field of accumulation that abides in space before you then dissolves and dissolves into light, and then dissolves into the entire universe and into all sentient beings within that universe, just like raindrops permeating the ground. And so Milarepa himself had said that his mind will always pervade the 5 elements. So when you always bear that in mind, then whenever you supplicate to Milarepa, since he is all pervasive, he will be right next to you. So it says that everything, the animate and inanimate, are pervaded. So the animate here refers, or the inanimate refers to the entire universe, and the animate refers to all the sentient beings.
자바라게 담제제 잡다도 바도지 장제 뭐 깍제 저 베어바도 제텔로나로 마발로다 야선절로 제발제도 넘제 왕고 제뭐 말라제 바도지 도지로 만다는 마세절로 르라도 지코에서 절로 저가라도 저 숨고서 절로 제 일라도 제 토교서 절로 제 요티메제 바지 저 콜로서 절로 저 틀레나 바죠 고나더냐 소마 섬제메 잡아고는 절로 저 타타니도 선절로 여와니 the Sanjalo, this was the need to Sanjalo. Sanjalo, something, all the Sabbath everybody goes on the tree. Nijit Seveba, God Seveba, Tanum Seveba, Semi Jetic, Recipe, Jura, Sadi, Sanchuk Sevita, what they talk your Semi Jetic, Dini, Zahoma, this one could hurt. Double Semi Jetic, one goes on that don't tell you.
And so now, Rinpoche just recited these words where we supplicate to grant blessings. And so the blessing really is that of love and compassion. And so it begins with cultivating immeasurable love. And then there is immeasurable compassion, immeasurable joy, and immeasurable equanimity. So then finally, the 4 immeasurables, when they arise, will always remain within the mind streams of sentient beings in the nature of bodhicitta. And that is represented by these 4 syllables in the end, Za Hung Bam Hom, the 4 immeasurables. It means that you need to cultivate the 4 immeasurables.
왕头前不就一把多就了的不，王国山就人吧。来我这把一个国松头就上这当前把人什么那么就，这没都是我叫人白的也记得做切达嘎萨尔巴得达tham chế ba cái gì đó là cái gì nó đồn là thế sau sau là thế là cái tập thể nhiều rồi để là cái tập thể là gì là mang đi rồi cả chế sống thấp đại用đi rồi我们就把那个这个当成的你把这王头荣马头荣在没人摸起眼里头的上街的到不上街的那个的人王所当成的呢当地的经济你来的省的经济上马展了当地桥上就干哩样那样的小周的你妈人家小周的这到咱们桥上桥着的东西是个的这个当成的上把车没吧对上把车没吧有人说你这样一个重要的这个他的这个的上出生的上的呢除了上这是什么建立基础的上这这怎么这把这个当地的把小重要的上这个当地爬上的一批老师全把他的基础个爬上着的这对面当地的人亲没把就嘛这把当地的就是这个的上这这还讲用把这边了对面的这里当地的这种车东西这种车的但桥上的东西有交通的东西有嘛别这的设备了这的这上这上嘛这吧这上这是说把它到国家过来这上不能够说那把上街就是个上街上街说的上这上出生出人不去送我哪怕银容民容虽然没事上这有电脑吧上这没有上哪把人这呢这里的考过有的到了上出生上了的送过有的平时上这里就拉玛样的上这样的去样的就这么的到了上的上这的时候把个大呀到国家了这他们这些人都有的这上海同学的国家什么他同大不打出来这里他的搞着他了送的到的他怎么来同大不打出什么人了送进牛毛把药嘛这里送过东西嘛可送上头你要买你没了等送的嘛你有那什么这个等你上出上把的你就是中国人但是你有不可能就已经做这个了这里他往这里拍出来的这妈妈那所有呢妈妈用的送这里往这里拍出来的这就没拍有的这说嘛这就没扎出来的这当然是那边那拍呀的这是的这是
And so then lastly there is the Samaya, and there are in general root Samayas and branch Samayas. And for the branch Samayas, each deity has its own individual Samaya, and whichever of these branch Samayas you're able to keep, it is excellent. But what you must certainly observe is the root Samaya. And actually, you have to keep the root Samaya even if you have not received an empowerment. So whether or not you have received an empowerment, you need to keep the root Samaya. And because once you have obtained a precious human body, it is your responsibility to keep the root Samaya, which is the Samaya of love and compassion. And now especially when you receive an empowerment, that Samaya is the life force of the empowerment. It is the union of emptiness and compassion. So if you never separate your mind from compassion, then slowly, day by day, the ice block of self-grasping will melt. Otherwise, the ice block of self-grasping will increasingly solidify. So the root Samaya is first to develop immeasurable love. And when there is immeasurable love, compassion will actually naturally arise and then turn into bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is this mind of enlightenment. It is called Chang Chup Sem in Tibetan. And Chang means to have, to purify. And Chup is to acquire or to master, to perfect. And so that is when you cultivate a mind of love, then actually, so that is when you master the mind of love, then the purification happens at the same time. So the greater your love, the greater the melting of the ice block of self-grasping. So the more you develop a mind of love, the more self-grasping will diminish. So these actually, Chang and Chup, or the purifying and mastering, happen at the same time. Otherwise, if you do not master or develop such a mind of altruism, then self-grasping will be habituated continuously, will remain all the time, day and night. And for the most part, in our ordinary mind, our love, our compassion is extremely limited. And self-grasping is very powerful. And the stronger self-grasping, the greater will be your suffering. It is just like ice and water. The more solid the ice block, the more there is obstruction or suffering. In the ocean water does not experience any obstruction, any suffering. So that outer example shows it very clearly. So love and compassion is the most important samaya, and in order to protect, to keep it, you must develop patience. And that is especially important as within Buddhism, as a Buddhist practitioner. That is really the life force of all the Buddhas of the three times. It is love and compassion. The Buddhas have called it the precious bodhicitta. So whether you are a Buddhist or not, actually, love is what really makes you an actual Buddhist. So, for example, even if you are a Buddhist on the outer level, if you do not have love, then it is still very questionable whether or not you are a real Buddhist practitioner. So it is very important to remind yourself of that each and every day. Cultivate love for one another, for those near you. And when love arises in your heart, that love is the Guru, that love is the Buddha, and that love is the Dharma. It is the essence of the Dharma. And you must protect this love with patience. So that really is the essence of all samayas. And then if you understand the meaning of the Vajrayana and know how to engage in practice, then there is an ultimate samaya, and that is to remain within a state of Mahamudra where there is no acceptance or rejection of anything. There is no samaya to be kept, and there is no one who keeps a samaya. There is no duality. And so that is, there is no more affliction within the mind. If mindfulness is sustained continuously, a state of non-distraction, there is no grasping in the mind, then there is no duality between someone who is keeping and something to be kept. However, for as long as there is a duality, that is, for as long as we perceive a duality of self and other, we must make an effort to develop love and compassion, bodhicitta. So for as long as we perceive self and other, we must consider others as most important, more important than ourselves. So that is the root samaya, and now you will receive the blessings of the empowerment, and you will also receive some blessing pills and other blessings during that, during the empowerment. And after having received the blessing of the empowerment, then we do some dedication, or in the meantime we do dedications. And anyways, after you have received the blessings, you are free to leave. So thank you very much, and Dashitelek.
그래서 주로 남반들이 잡아서 못남지 요래 지는 책 배우고요. 미도 탐지 도시 토리는 남동 가시 비반 리지와 산촉생을 찰찰로 이제 이제 배우면하고
Tiktinga lola meron po siya.
아
Londa.
산촉생을 찰찰로 도나 라마탄 자와미 버스제로 라마탄 자와미 중요지 이와 라마 같은 자와미 조탄 요지 이한 정도요래 라마 샘제 다고 자고는 거네 산촉생을 자와미 봐야지 너는 사촉생도 맞다는 들이 딱 추봐 양다가래
So Rinpoche was just reciting this prayer by Maitreya. That is excellent, but I don't have it memorized. But in any case, the essence of that is that when we never the blessing that we receive from the Guru is to never separate from the mind of the Guru. If we only attend to the Guru's physical form, the body, that can lead to both faults and good qualities. But it's more important to tend to the mind of the Guru, to hold on to the mind of the Guru. And the mind of the Guru is a mind of bodhicitta. So you should never separate from the mind of bodhicitta. And whoever never separates from the mind of bodhicitta is a true Dharma practitioner. So on page, if you can turn to page 3 in the Milarepa book, we will read together the last verse on that page, on page 3. By this virtue of this may I swiftly achieve the attainment of Mahamudra and establish all beings without exception in that very same state. Oh. And then, where is it? Oh, in Tibetan. Oh.
So please come receive the blessing. So maybe first this line and from there to that way. Mane Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum. Om 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 Mani Padme Heart center. Om Mani Padme Hum. Heart center. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum. Om 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 Mani Padme Heart center. Heart. Om Mani Padme Hum. Heart center. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mani Padme Hum.
Padme Hum. Om Mani 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 Padme Padme Hum. Om Mani 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 Padme Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum.
Om Mani Padme Hum.
Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om
Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum.
Om Mani Padme
Hum. Om
Mani Padme Hum.
Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme
Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Ni Padme Hum. Om Mani 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 Padme Hum.
Sign up for the dinner for tomorrow's birthday. There's a sheet outside.
If anyone would like to sign up for tomorrow night's dinner, the birthday dinner for Rinpoche, there's a sign-up sheet in the table over here, so please take a minute to do that. And also, if you like those green Milarepa books with Songs of Realization in there, they're available in the bookstore. So we'll be back together here tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. And if you can come a little bit early, it would be great to get everything parking and situated. And if Lama likes to start a little bit early, we'll be ready for him. Thank you. Drive safely. What?